had a lady call me on my radio show today, and it's a phone call I don't think I'll ever forget. She was very passionate. God love her. She was so passionate, and she said, Glenn, tell us the way out. I can't figure it out. Tell us the way out. And I said, I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. And quite honestly, if I can get all Jesus with you here for a second, I feel God's a little cryptic at times. He's like, figure it out, dummy. Faith, hope, and charity. Faith, hope, and charity. Those are the tools he gave me. And I keep circling around it. But I'm telling you, in about 5 minutes, I'm going to lay something out. History is the answer. I'm going to lay something out that I found today that we happen to have the perfect person to explain it to you. I'm with Dr. Alveda King. She is the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., music legend Ted Nugent, gun lover, and Princeton University's Robert George. Professor, let me start with you. We know, like we were talking a minute ago, about abortion, and people will either feel, if you think about it, you generally go one way or the other, and you're strong in that view. But that one's pretty easy for people. The media keeps looking at these tea parties and saying, well, it's about high taxes. It's not. Can you explain and distill what people are feeling, or what can you compare this to? How would you explain what people are gathering for?
Tea Partiers see themselves in the tradition of the original Boston Tea Party. What they are united in standing up for is the principle of constitutional government, the rule of law. In the United States, under the Constitution we have, this is the principle of limited government. I think people see that we're really here at a hinge of history. We're going to go in one direction or the other. We're either going to go in the direction of European-style social democracies, or we're going to go back in the direction of limited government under our Constitution. The Tea Partiers are very clear about where they want to be. Now, those who favor European-style social democracies are not bad people. That's a legitimate point of view. It happens to be not one that I share, but it's a legitimate point of view. The argument can be made, but the argument can also be made, and I believe it's a powerful argument. It's the argument that Tea Partiers are making, that the real future of America, the best future for ourselves and our children, is to go back in the direction of limited government restrained by the Constitution. So what the Tea Partiers are standing for is constitutional principle. It's not fundamentally about tax rates or whether to have a consumption tax or an income tax. It's about adherence to the Constitution and the principle of limited government.
Well, the Tea Party, their battle cry is not coincidental, that they rally against taxation without representation. And that is such an egregious violation by this current government, and has been metastasizing for years. Certainly nobody can stand up and go, yeah, they're spending our tax dollars really good. They're very accountable. There's no accountability. That was the battle cry of the original Tea Party, and it's the battle cry of this Tea Party, but it's only the tip of the culture war spear. The government is out of control. The corruption is absolutely vulgar at this point. Power corrupts, and there's way too much corrupted power. So we the people, just like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, stand up and monitor the government that is supposed to work for us. That's what the Tea Party represents. It's so simple. It's stupid.
So, Dr. King, before I get to what I think Dr. Martin Luther King did brilliantly, let's talk a little bit about the culture of the 60s. You talked about how it was out of control on all fronts and reflects today's culture in many ways.
Yeah.
But it was, I don't think I've never considered going to jail before. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I've never considered that. And my wife and I have had a conversation recently going, I think these guys could just say, you know what, something happened, you caused it, get your butt in jail. And I started thinking about Martin Luther King. What was that like? Because you went to jail.
I actually went to jail too. My Uncle Martin went to jail several times. My father, Reverend A.D. King, his brother, was jailed often, especially in Birmingham. And you know, our home was bombed in Birmingham and all of that. When I went to jail, we were demonstrating and we were marching. And we had a covenant or an agreement that we would not be violent and that we would conduct ourselves in a certain way. One of my friends was thrown down by the police officers and they began to kick her. And so I went to rescue her, and there actually was a tussle. And so in the midst of that, I went to jail, and I remember calling home crying, and I said, "Daddy, come and get me." He says, "No, why don't you just take the night in jail and think about what nonviolence really means?" And so I already knew, but after that, I further committed myself.
I mean, that's a good
I was very committed because Daddy meant it. My Uncle Martin meant it. So to live in a time when you were jailed just because of the color of your skin and having the courage, like the Tea Party people,
God bless you.
I pray they don't end up in jail, but you know, speaking out with courage and conviction peacefully for what is right, and that's why they went to jail.
Back in just a second.